Hi, everyone. Welcome to our 10th episode of Love All. It's kind of our 10th anniversary, Blair. Yay.
I feel so honored to have made it 10 episodes with you, Kim.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't know. Is that a compliment or not? Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
I survived 10.
All right. Good. Yeah, excited about today. I feel like we got the okay from a very, very special guest to come on today's episode. So we have Gabriela Sabatini coming on. Super excited to talk to her, pick her brain, and on tennis, on court, off court stuff. So really looking forward to speaking to her.
In part, wanted to talk to her because at Miami, I feel like the Argentine players, the South Americans, are so beloved. So it made sense to talk to Gabby during this tournament. But I happened to see her in player dining totally out of the blue. And we were talking about the fact that when you hear the term aura, she is in the definition, just the most unbelievable presence and kindness and warmth, just the absolute best in person for those who haven't had a chance to meet her. So we're excited to pick her brain as well today.
My first time meeting her or seeing her for the first time, I think, was at the French Open, where I only went for a couple of days. I decided not to play Legends because I had things to do with the family here. But I went over for a couple of days towards the end of the tournament, and I saw her because she was playing Legends doubles with Gisela Dulko, who, I loved when she was on tour and is super nice. I was like, oh my God, there is Gisela with Sabatini. I was like, all right, that's my way to go say hi. And but yeah, there's still some, people in the tennis world who I see that make me feel like, I go back to being that 10-year-old and who used to watch the tennis matches and, hope to be like them one day and pretend to play like them. And so, really excited that we get a chance to, that I get this chance to speak to her.
It does make me feel a little better, Kim, when I hear that you feel that way. So if I'm feeling that way, I'm like, okay, Kim also feels that way. So that makes me feel better.
All right, good.
All right, good stuff. Well, we're excited to get to that. We also have some Henley's headlines. But before we get to that, first of all, I just want to say I have not been arrested. This is a storage closet. we had to work with what we had here at the Miami Open. It's one of those things when you're on a tournament site, it's hard to find a quiet spot because there's so much hustle and bustle. There's music happening in many of the areas. So listen, we're working with what we have.
Maybe next week we'll put you somewhere in the middle of the crowd where there is a lot of things happening, so we get the real Miami vibe going.
I know. I do. Well, just so people know, I am in fact not incarcerated this week. only for our recording time. But so we've got Henley's headlines, and we've also got one follow-up for you, Kim. I don't even know. I don't think we discussed this, but on last week's episode, you disclosed that when you were playing, you actually sought out the transcripts of your opponents just in case they said anything about their mental states.
Yes.
Once in a while. Okay. All right. Once in a while. I then texted the Andy Kim Blair group chat and I said, Andy, burning question from our recording today. Did you ever read the transcripts of your opponents? And he immediately responds, never. Is that a thing? And
I kept my mouth shut.
And Kim did not respond. Totally left him on red. I said, you know what? I'm going to let Kim answer that. Kim never answered that. So Andy still doesn't know that was a thing that Kim did, but Andy did not hesitate. He was like, absolutely not.
Well, I definitely did. And it started with, I think, one of the runners that worked for one of the broadcasts, who you get to know, right? They help you. They take you to the press conference and they're like, hey, so-and-so spoke about you in the press conference. Here, you can read about it. And then I started reading, and it's like a fun read. It's like you get the question. It's like, I enjoyed it. And so that's how that started. And then once in a while I would be like, hey, semifinal, can you give me the my opponent's kind of press conference?
Amazing.
Yeah, like
super sleuth Kim Clijsters, we love it. Okay, well, here on site in Miami, Kim, we've got men's fourth round action today on my court. I have a couple of matches I'm really looking forward to. Fils and Vachereau, who's really backed up his incredible performance in Shanghai last year. It was interesting. He's close to the top 20 in the live rankings, and I was going to mention that. I said, in the live rankings. And he said, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. So I thought that was interesting. Does not want to know where he is in the live rankings. Arthur Fils, who missed the second half of last season, and it's like he never left, playing unbelievable tennis. Francis Tiafoe saved a couple match points against the defending champion Menchik. We'll see if he can back it up against maybe, I know I'm not supposed to have favorites, but perhaps my favorite on the men's side, Terence Attman, who is going to tell you exactly what he's thinking. And what he's thinking is probably not what you're going to be expecting. He blew a hole in his shoe in his match yesterday, asked for tape during the match to tape the hole on his shoe. And after the match, I said, Terence, do you not have another pair of shoes? He said, no, I sure don't. That's what the prize money's for. I have to go to the store and get another pair of shoes. So, he, Pokemon enthusiast, has one of the biggest Pokemon collections in France. He's a part-time magician. No shortage of anecdotes there with Terence Attman. So again, all men's matches on my court today, but the women's matches are incredible as well. Vicky Mboko is continuing to do, incredible things. Belinda Bencic played a masterclass against Amanda Anisimova. The list goes on and on. So we're into the quarterfinals for the women, but I want to start, Kim, unless you have any thoughts on just general results that you want to share. I was going to start with our first headline.
Yeah, for me, I think one of the things that we had discussed as one of the headlines too is Hailey Baptiste doing really well. I think, she's really sticking out for me, and having, I think it's her first quarterfinal, right, in a big tournament. So it's seeing the players that she's beaten so far. It started with Tatiana Maria, who's a very tricky player, and then Svitolina. She beat Ostapenko, and just to see her like grow in confidence, to learn about, for the last few years, I've seen her grow and become more confident and work on her game, work on the weaknesses, but still keep building on her strength. She's very strong, has a great serve, hits a heavy ball. But you can tell that she's been working on some of her weaknesses, like the finesse. Like she has the full coverage, like she can do everything on court, and it's great to see. I think she's moving better than she was before. I think it's all kind of falling into place for her, and so excited to see. She's one of the girls that I met when we played World Team Tennis a few years ago in West Virginia during COVID. She was she was the reserve player. So when somebody was injured or couldn't play, she would step in, and so she got to play on our team for a little bit and got to know her and her family, and so really nice to see her doing well.
And she remembers that, by the way. I think I've told you this, Kim. When I saw her in Houston last fall, she's like, I'll never forget World Team Tennis. I had Kim Clijsters and Venus Williams giving me life advice when it was all said and done. So she remembers that experience.
Oh, good.
She was on my court the other day. She broke out the chip in charge, Kim.
Yeah, it's incredible, like that she's able to do all that. And sometimes when you have, all the tools and the flexibility to kind of play around a little bit with it all, it's not always as easy in big moments to know which decisions to make at the right time. And so I think it takes time to kind of learn about yourself and your opponents. But she's doing it all. And it's, confidence does a lot of things for a person.
Sure does. All right. That brings us to our first official headline, though I loved that little Hailey Baptiste aside there. And that is, of course, that Iga Świątek lost her opening match to her countrywoman Magda Linette in 3 sets. That snapped a streak of 73 consecutive opening match wins. And the story here is not necessarily maybe the loss, because everyone has a bad loss here and there, but sort of the quotes afterwards. So to the Polish press, and this was via Ben Rothenberg's bounces, she said, honestly, what I'm feeling now, I haven't felt in about 5 years. It definitely won't be easy, and it won't happen quickly to recover, but I just do what I can. I want to work to get out of this, to feel that confidence again and not feel the chaos that I feel on court right now. And then in the English press, she added, tennis feels complicated in my head, but I know it's supposed to be simple. I guess I've always been an overthinker, and lately it's been really intense. Honestly, I played my best when I didn't think much, and now I feel like I make so many bad decisions or mistakes that it's hard for me not to think. And it was easy to feel for her in that moment. She also used the word confusion. What were your takeaways from both watching the match and then hearing what she had to say afterward?
I feel like just from watching, I feel like for a little bit, you have felt the rise of tension in her body, and which usually is related to how the mind is, right? Like it's a combination, and it's sad to hear that she's going through those struggles, but at the same time, it's also very recognizable in a way, right? We all go through those moments that you mentally question some things, that you mentally question yourself. Am I good enough? Can I still do this? Can I, am I approaching it the right way? Do I need to take a break from it? Like you go through life on the road, but at the same time, you also have to, you grow as a person, and sometimes you can get a little stuck in that kind of tennis circus. And like I always said, like it's for me, when I go to the tour now, and I love going back and seeing everybody, but I do realize how of an intense and at times toxic environment it is that we are in, and that we are in for a very long time. And so it's really good to stay in your bubble and to create somewhat of a normal life.
And you might think, okay, go work with a performance psychologist or a sports psychologist. She has that on her team. So I imagine having that at your disposal and then still feeling completely confused and helpless, that's got to be a pretty terrible feeling. And she did say in press, Kim, there's no magic solution. And then 4 days later, she splits with her coach of 18 months, Wim Fissette. She won 3 tournaments with him, including Wimbledon. And if there's anyone who knows about sort of Wim's skill set and the way that he coaches, it's you. You were one of his first pupils. He's worked with some of the best in the game, you included. And so I was wondering if you could maybe shed some light on that decision and your experience with Wim on the court.
My first kind of feeling is a little bit, I saw some of the interactions, that were happening on court as well. And I think to Wim's defense, when a player is mentally where she was at, I don't think there's a lot that you can say from the sideline, right? It's a lot further than, hey, do this on the tennis court, or hey, try to focus on placing the ball there, or throwing the ball toss, or stepping in on the return. Like it's a lot further than that, right? It's a lot deeper. To go back to, I think, the first part of the question that I think want to pull into this is also, I remember a few years ago, Sabalenka was very open about sharing that, people recommended her to go talk to a psychologist, and that after a while she realized, like, what am I doing? Like, I'm the only person who can change this. Like, this person doesn't know what it's like to be out there. Like, I just have to change myself. And I think you come to a point that you have to look yourself in the mirror and, make the changes and, face your weaknesses and that tension a lot of times. Like Wim is he's very data driven, which naturally he was like that. I was a very intuitive player. Like I didn't want to hear any stats. Like I didn't care about the numbers. Like in my brain, it does not work. But for me, like that was something that would be very overwhelming. I don't know what Iga is like, right? Like, but sometimes you want to have an open mind but you could see that there was tension already for a few months and frustration, and that there, that natural kind of player coaching relationship wasn't really where it should be at. And I think those were, a couple of red flags. And I also think on Wim's side, it's also not easy to work in a team, I think, where you have a mindset coach who is very close, right? Who's always there. And because that's also, in a sense, I feel like the coach also needs to also know, or it's also a part of it. Like, I feel like a good coach at times can also understand the mental side of it, how to approach that. Like, I think it's not just the tennis part that, or the puzzle piece that you can just take out and replace by somebody else. Like, I think it's a very intimate, kind of detailed, relationship and where you have to be able to express yourself openly. And, it's not always easy, right? But personalities have to match and it's a lot of things. But Wim is somebody who is, who is always on time. He's very organized. Like I said, he was very data driven. I would say he's maybe not the best technical coach, right? Like he is not not like that. If you're looking for somebody to change your forehand or to do major things, that was probably not his strength. But I'm also talking about like more than 10 years ago, right? Like he's helped a lot of other players over time. And yeah, but that was my experience with him, basically.
I feel like we have a theme to our Henley's headlines this week because we're also going to talk about Naomi Osaka, who lost in straight sets to Talia Gibson, who that's a whole other story. She's playing some fantastic tennis, but disappointing for Naomi. And in press, she said, quote, "For me, like I said last year, I'm not going to stay on tour if I'm losing in the first round. I'd rather just be a great mom and be there for my daughter. I feel like this also is a dilemma for me." And she went on to say, obviously, I'd love to play, but like I said, for me, my daughter's very important. I want to be a mom. I want to be the best mom I can. But sometimes I feel like I know what I have to do to become a really good player, and it's very difficult. I'm not going to play Charleston. I hope I can play Madrid, Rome, and then obviously Roland Garros. So again, relatable here, because whether you're a professional tennis player or a working mom in any other way, I feel like we've sort of all had this feeling of being torn, for lack of a better word. But when you hear those quotes, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Yeah, again, very relatable. I think it's, it's a situation like Naomi is somebody who was number one in the world before. I think it was 2019. She was number one in the world. She was winning slams. And when you come back after having a baby, she had her daughter, was in 2023. I think she had her in the summer of, in July. And, you can do the same things, but the level, the tour, like it still keeps growing and still keeps evolving. And I think for her, when you've tasted and felt what it's like to be the last one standing at those big tournaments, and that's what you try to achieve, and that's why you train, and that's why you put the hard work in. And she's, doesn't bring her daughter to a lot of events, and for me it was different. Like I couldn't travel. Like I didn't want to do it if I didn't have, my family traveling with me, because it wasn't worth the sacrifice of not being around them. Did I feel guilty at putting her through jet lag, or, putting her on a plane for 28 hours from Belgium to Australia? Yes, I felt guilty, but it was an adventure that we were doing together, and we had, a great time. And she, it's probably doesn't remember much about it, but it's, I totally get the sacrifice of, you want to be there with your daughter. There's so many, fun things that you're missing, and that you, but it's hard because I feel like there is no 50-50. You are at times 100% the athlete, and you can't be the mom, like, or you have to let other people step in and take over like a little bit of that parenting role, or the other way around. Like it's, and it's really hard to, my team members, Wim, Sam, who was probably my closest team member, my osteopath, he was kind of my go-to guy when I had to vent, when I was struggling, when I felt guilty. Usually when I laid on the massage table, like all that stuff would come out. It's important to, really listen to those thoughts, and it makes it a lot more worthwhile if you know that all the time and the effort that you're putting in is showing by the results as well. Yeah. And because that makes it worthwhile leaving your family. And so again, I really hope for her that she gets the satisfaction out of her career that she is looking for. And because it's really hard to keep pushing through for a long time if that's what you're dealing with.
Yeah, important, I think, to remember that she is ranked 15 in the world. We're not talking about someone who's ranked 75.
Yeah, but the rankings, I think you get to a point where when you've been number one, and the rankings really don't matter anymore. Like that's not, when you've tasted wins and that is your goal, right? Like she's, I think, in the best shape that she's ever been. She moves well on court, better than I think she's ever moved. So she's definitely, sacrificing and putting in and having an open mind to adjusting things. And, but if it's not paying off with the results that she wants, it's very hard. And I feel for her because, that's a tough decision, to always leave your family. And you step on the plane, you're like, I don't want to, why am I leaving? And is it worth it? And, But yeah, let's hope, things can change really quickly in tennis as well. And let's hope that she gets that satisfaction out of it.
Yeah, I always feel like it's when you have children and you're a working mom, I always visualize it as you're putting things on the two sides of the scale. And what are the benefits of leaving? What are the benefits of working? And what are you potentially missing out on the other side? And the problem is not everything has a clear-cut weight for the scale. It's like, I think maybe this outweighs it. I don't know. So you just never quite fully know if you're doing the right thing. And that sort of uncertainty can really make you feel sort of perpetually torn, which is a feeling I know a lot of us have felt before. So all the best.
And I also think, Blair, like, I grew up, and I don't know how it was in your situation, but like I had a grandmother, my mother, who were, always home, right? Like they did everything. Like they cooked meals every day. They, did everything, cleaned the house, ironed our clothes. Like my mom would drive us to, the practices every day. Like, and if that's what you're used to as a female kind of role, you do like that guilt feeling of like, oh, like I have to get other people to do it, or the dad has to do more, or like it does stay into your head a little bit. But then at the same time, you try to tell them like, but it's good for your daughter to see mom working and to see her following her passion and to enjoying what she's doing. So there's that kind of combination. And it comes down to kind of playing enough tournaments, but also not too many, so that you can still be home and kind of feel recharged every time and know that you're, there's a lot of women that are doing it. Taylor Townsend is doing it. Like she's been open and sharing on her social media too, how sad she gets when she has to leave her son. And it's like, it's part of life. And, but it's not only tennis players who have to deal with that, right? Like it's a lot of women on the work floor as well.
And to go along with our theme, I think the takeaway this week is just that it does not matter how good you are, how much success you've had. These thoughts can creep in. And we even saw it in Carlos Alcaraz's loss to Sevi Korda, where he was saying to his team in the middle of the match, I can't anymore. I want to go home. And I did actually see something really funny on tennis Reddit where somebody made it into a meme, and they're like, me when my friends want to go to the club. And there's one says, I can't anymore. I want to go home. But anyway, on a more serious note, it really is something that it does not matter what your resume looks like, how famous you are, how successful you are, the doubt can creep in.
Definitely. And it's not just a doubt. It's also, I think, the physical wear and tear of everything, right? It's like, it's playing, whenever he plays tournaments, he's usually there until the later stages of the event. It is the start of the year, but these guys play till pretty late in the season. And so it's important. Like he has a big part of his, season coming up with the clay court where, especially coming from, the Southern European countries, there's they really focus on the clay court preparations because it's a different game style so him knowing that he has, the French Open coming up and how much it takes for him to, physically just adjust some things to, be a better clay court player coming from all these hard court tournaments takes some time. So he's probably already like, listen, I need a little break. Like, let me mentally and physically, recover so that I'm fully invested into what's coming up. And there's been a lot of, I don't think we can always underestimate what it's like to be in the spotlight all the time as well. And, there's been a lot going on with him and Ferrero in the media, and he gets, for a while was getting asked a lot of questions. And so you can brush it off as much as you want, but I do think after a while, like little things kind of add up. And, so it's very, very important to take, time off. And I know that's not what the ATP and the WTA would want to hear, but it's what players definitely need to do. And Sabalenka is, I feel like, found a very good recipe for her schedule. Yeah.
Okay, I said we had a mental health theme, and for our last topic, I am going to take a hard right turn, Kim. I
thought you were going to open up on something.
No, girl. We don't have enough time in this podcast to get into my mental health. That's another show. No, I was going to tell you, well, this isn't something that you don't know, but for those who maybe were not following this, maybe little psychodrama that happened in the tennis world this week, I'm going to sum it up for you. And then Kim, I would love to get your thoughts.
Oh boy.
So, okay. Danielle Collins, former Miami Open champion. She is here in Miami working for Tennis Channel. So she's on the Tennis Channel desk, which opens up to the player warm-up area. Well, a few days ago, Corentin Moutet, the Frenchman, the colorful Frenchman who we just recently talked about, was walking behind the desk and was, sort of flirting with her, allegedly, from the field. And she said, if you're going to flirt with me like that, you're going to need to get a better serve. Well, he proceeds to win his match that day. Again, allegedly messages her and says, did you watch my match? I had some big serves, et cetera, et cetera. And Danielle, in a segment that Tennis Channel is calling Story Time with Danielle, discloses this interaction and said that Moutet was initially following her on Instagram, but then she had a dating profile that went viral in which she said she doesn't like short kinks. So Moutet more on the petite side. He's not a small guy, but I guess she has very specific height standards. She then alleges that he unfollowed her and, that he was going to really have to bring some things to the table in order to be considered by her in the future. Well, Mr. Moutet was not a fan of this discussion being had on the Tennis Channel desk, and he took to X, Kim, and he said, how can I unfollow you when I never followed you? At Tennis Channel, how can you let someone say BS like this on TV? Moutet claimed that Collins was the one who followed him and asked about mixed doubles, and then he finished this by saying, you ready to say anything so people talk about you? You should learn how to love yourself so you won't have to do stupid things for people's loves. At Tennis Channel, good sports journalist. Scorched earth from Corentin Moutet on X. And this made it all the way, Kim, to TMZ. And it's been a news week at TMZ, if you know, you know. And tennis made it to TMZ. Now, before I get your take, I just want to say that I have always been pretty consistent in my thoughts on these sorts of things. And that is, if tennis expands outside of the immediate tennis bubble, the immediate tennis consciousness, I almost always think that's a good thing. Even if it's something controversial, even if it's something bizarre, even if it's something like, oh, I can't believe that happened. I'm like, I don't hate it that people are talking about tennis. There's sort of another side to this as well, but that's my initial take. I would love to hear yours.
I feel like I'm too old for all this stuff. Like,
Kim,
oh my
Kim,
God.
when we started podcasting, did you think we'd be talking about this?
I was like, wait, what is going on? I do, I watch the Tennis Channel and I follow the tennis as much as I can. And I think Danielle needs her own show. I think she can fill. Idea. I think she can fill her own show and or whatever reality show, whatever it is. I think she also talked about like her dog pooping in the locker room.
She sure
or
did.
Things like that.
Indeed, she did.
So I don't know if that's things that need to be happening in the studio booth or in on air, or I don't know.
I honestly think maybe her own show is maybe the solution.
She has personality and is I think that would be great for her. I don't know.
Kim is a problem solver. She will find your transcripts and she will suggest career paths for you.
No, that's okay. I'll just let you be you.
That's
probably better.
It's a good solution though. But I think when it comes to tennis coverage in general, I always find that in tennis, and I'm sure it's maybe like this to some extent in other sports, but in tennis, I feel like you really have to be a Swiss Army knife. I love it when people try new things. I love creativity in tennis coverage. As you know, tennis has stayed the exact same for a lot of our lifetimes. And so I like the idea of thinking outside the box, and I generally applaud giving things a try. So that part I like, but I also think you have to remember that your audience is such an incredibly wide range of viewers. And so being able to have the fun, but also being able to maybe break things down in a more serious way and leave room for, a Jimmy Arias, who is also on that desk, who is one of my favorite people to talk to about tennis. Like, man, he can break down a match like nobody I've ever interacted with in tennis. He's so good. So again, there's, I think, a balance to be found. And Steve Weissman even said it on the desk. He's like, some people are going to love this. Some people are going to hate this.
So but are we going to find out like who of the two is basically lying? Like, right?
I mean, I feel like Moutet, to his credit, is someone who would show us the receipts. Give us the Instagram history. I want to see the message history.
Well, if you see him there, maybe you go ask him. Like,
I might. I'm very sad that he lost because I feel like we need to put an intrepid reporter. Maybe Super Sleuth Kim. Maybe this is a job for Super Sleuth Kim.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Anyway, but I think it's interesting because it's opened this bigger conversation about tennis coverage and what it should look like and how it should be. And I think you have to try things. I think you also have to remember that you have sort of the other side of the coin. Some people are going to love the offbeat stuff, but you also have people who want to see a match broken down and just remembering the audience in that sense. But listen, we love a good TMZ tennis headline with extremely low stakes, and this was that.
Definitely.
Okay. Kim's like, can we move on?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, Kim, we had a journey today on Henley's headlines, and now we get to move into what I know that all of our listeners are waiting for, and that is our interview with Gabriela Sabatini. And a reminder that next week we're going to have all of the results from the Miami Open. We'll dive a little deeper into the tennis, but for now, I'm going to give our guest a proper welcome. Should I do it in my US Open voice since I'm sort of in
Yes, please.
Okay, in an echo chamber here? Here we go. She collected 27 singles titles in her legendary career, including 2 at the WTA Finals and the US Open title in 1990. Also a Grand Slam doubles champion at Wimbledon with Steffi Graf. She's been ranked as high as number 3 in the world in both singles and doubles. She also became an Olympic silver medalist at the 1988 Seoul Olympic Games. She's from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Please welcome Gabriela Sabatini. Woo!
Gabby, it's really, really nice to have you on our Level podcast. I have to say, throughout my career, like when I was a little girl watching you on TV, and then, I remember a few years ago, like you showed up at the French Open and I didn't really know like which legends were arriving, and I saw you there and I was like, oh my God, like there she is, like I don't think we ever really interacted or anything. So it was really nice to see you back on a tennis court and playing doubles with one of my favorite people, I think, Gisela Dulko. And so it's really nice to get to talk to you.
For me too. I'm so excited. I mean, to be talking to you guys. And Kim, I have all my admiration. Obviously, I follow your career and I always admire you on and off the court. And it's true that we didn't have any interaction. I think what I remember is that I gave you, the trophy at Roland Garros. It was against Justine Henin.
Yeah.
You lost in the finals. But yeah, I think that was the first time we kind of met each other. And we kind of look at each other every time we kind of encounter personally. And there was always something special. So I'm very happy to be talking to you guys today.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to you, because when I've always kind of watched, looked at you as like the tennis player and the on-court stuff, right? And then just to go back a little bit about going through some of the things that you went through and off court, there's so many, I feel like, similarities that I recognized as well. So I can't wait to, talk a little bit about some of those things that I kind of, I think, went through a little bit as well and shared. And yeah.
Gabby, we wanted to talk to you during the Miami Open, in part because you had so much success in Florida throughout your career. I know as a stadium host here, whenever a South American plays on these courts, it is like a party. You were a champion here, a couple of finals. So you had success here. But I think maybe to start off, people would love to maybe hear what you're up to, where home base is for you, and what you're up to these days.
I'm trying to enjoy life, as just any regular person. I'm based in Switzerland, near Zurich, but I travel a lot. I spend some time also in Argentina, which is where I'm from, and then I also have a home in Miami, so I like to come to Miami a lot. I have been always in Key Biscayne. That's where the tournament used to be, so right. I was very close. It was very convenient for me. I remember I will either ride my motorcycle or just with the bicycle. So it was really a pleasure.
Wait. You would ride your motorcycle like to the facility and go play tennis?
Absolutely. I did that in a few tournaments. I had a contract with Yamaha. Rackets.
Wow.
So I will ask them to give me a motorcycle.
That's amazing.
You must be the only tennis player to ever have a motorcycle sponsor.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a great idea, but I remember in Hamburg, in San Diego, California, I would have my motorcycle, and for me, it was great. I also had one here in Miami, and I remember after Miami, we played Hilton Head and Amelia Island, and we will drive to go there. And at the time, my coach, Brazilian coach Carlos Kiermaier, he also loved motorcycles. So he said, "Why don't we take it there? We can ask this friend to take it there in a car, obviously, or in a truck, and then we can have it there." To ride it. So I would play my match, and when I finish, I would grab my motorcycle and I will be, for me, it was, I don't know, well, you guys can probably talk about it too, but, you needed that getaway moment, to release, exactly, to take away the pressure. And that's how I started to learn a little bit of how important these moments were.
When you were saying that, I think it's so funny that Yamaha was giving you a motorcycle, and there are sponsors who have clauses where, you can't go skiing.
No, exactly.
There are certain things you can't do, and you're like, give me a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I love it.
Fun time.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I can only imagine the bridge, in Key Biscayne, riding your motorcycle on that bridge, going in and out of, amazing.
Exactly. Yeah, amazing.
To go back a little bit about, to the start of when you, what made you play tennis? How did you fall in love with the sport? From what age did that happen for you?
Yeah, with my family, we used to have a weekend house, and they sold the house for different reasons. And so my parents were like, okay, what do we do now on the weekends? So they were fans of River Plate, our soccer team in Argentina. They have a huge club, and they have all different sports, and they had tennis. So we all became members of this club, and they started to play tennis. And of course, I wanted to try it also. And I fell in love with tennis from the first moment. I was just crazy about playing tennis, either against the wall, because obviously no one wanted to play with me so many hours. So I would be, playing against the wall, and then I would get home and play against my wall in the patio I had. Yeah. So this was when I was 6 years old, and obviously I had the conditions. I remember people telling my parents, "Your daughter should be going to a teacher. She has great conditions." And I remember I started practicing with this teacher, and he already asked me if someone worked on my backhand because it was so natural. So it was there. The something was there. And at 8, I started to play tournaments in Buenos Aires. And I did very well from the beginning. I remember I reached the semifinals in the first tournament, and and that's how it all started. I just love being on the court.
Yeah, you became the youngest player to ever win the Orange Bowl. Then a year later, winning the girls' title at Roland Garros. Then you were the junior world #1. So quickly, you became a big thing, not only in Argentina, but around the world. But I imagine in Argentina, it was just huge. So can you tell us what the attention was like? And did you feel pressure right away?
It was funny because I didn't want to tell anybody. I mean, I was still going to school, and I didn't want to tell my friends that I was a tennis player and I had to go to play tournaments. My mother would pick me up at school, get me out of it, a few minutes before finishing school so I could get to the tournament. But no one really knew much about it. And then I started to be on the newspapers. So my friends, the teacher, they were all asking me, oh, "You're famous." No.
No, I don't want to stand out. No.
Yeah, exactly. I was so shy. I had a lot of issues. To the extreme, like to the point where I wouldn't ask the teacher to go to the bathroom. And then, then what happened next was not very good.
Little accident.
Yeah, exactly. My mom had to come. So I couldn't start kindergarten until a year later because I tried to go and I was all day looking at the window waiting for my mom to come. Oh. So I had a lot of issues. And yeah, I think a big moment was when I played the junior tournaments. This was in 2014. I was 14 years old. 1984. 84. I was 14 years old, and I played all these tournaments, junior tournaments. I remember I was traveling with Mercedes Paz, another tennis player from Argentina. We were the two of us by ourselves. And it was a huge, long tour of tournaments. I ended up playing Roland Garros. I won most of the tournaments. I ended up winning Roland Garros. And I came back home with my father, I remember. And I'm looking at the airport. I see all these people. All this crowd. And I was like, I asked my dad, "What are these people doing here? Why there are so many people?" And I realized I started to see my friend, my neighbor, my grandfather, my uncle, and journalist, and that was, I would say, like a before and after. Everything changed from that moment. So in a way, tennis helped me a lot in my personality because I had to kind of be more expressive, try to talk to people, say hello, say thank you. So it helped me a lot, obviously.
It's funny because tennis, because it is such an individual sport. So I do feel like as a more of an introvert or a shy person, you can be yourself with yourself in the sport, right? Like that's why you thrive. And maybe I think you pick up things maybe faster than other people too. But I remember for me, like it was, also very important. Like once I started playing juniors or under 14s internationally, I felt like I was with my people because they were also, when I was in school in my hometown, I was the one that was able to leave school a little bit earlier to go play. I didn't want to stand out, as a young kid because I could play tennis, but it's very similar like that. Like you try to hide a little bit that you're, good at something and because you just want to be normal like the rest of the kids. And
exactly. And then they, I remember they wanted all of us to get together at school. Everything was already finished. I was not going to school anymore, but they organized the reunion and I hesitated to go because I didn't want to stand out. I didn't want to be the different one. So I ended up not going for this reason. Right. It's exactly like that.
But then you go to the juniors and you're like, oh my God, we have these kids from all around the world who, are there for the same reason as you. And then that kind of becomes your
family,
social life, your family, your social life.
And until today, this is how I feel.
Me too.
it was hard in the beginning when I retired because I felt like I didn't belong in the tennis, or I didn't know where to put myself, because I was not part of it anymore. I don't know if this happened to you. So I didn't want to go to the tournaments. I mean, I think after, I don't know, 5-6 years that I went to a tournament for the first time, but I didn't know where to place myself, when I was there. But today I realized that it is a big family. I go to the tournament and I see familiar faces, even when I played, and it's so nice to see them and to talk to them, and from a different point of view,
right? Because we have, like, we're all very obviously different backgrounds, different cultures, and also, but there's so many similarities, right? Like that and I think I mentioned this when we spoke to Martina Hingis, is like when I play the Legends, like I'm around these women who know exactly what it's like, what we've been through, the ups, the downs, everything that we had to sacrifice, the stresses of, whatever, media, like all that stuff is. There's not a lot of people in my normal day-to-day life here in Belgium or in New Jersey who understand. And that's why
that you can relate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like even with the Hall of Fame, like you realize like there's a family there. There's part of tennis.
Exactly. With your biggest rival. I remember Steffi, we were big rivals, even Monica or Arantxa. And today we talk to each other, and it's so nice because we talk about other things, but it's like, coming back to a place that, it feels good.
I love, Gabby, that you brought up the Steffi rivalry, because I'm just going to read some stats for people who are listening. And then I know Kim wants to dive into this a little bit, but you guys played each other 40 times between 1985 and 1995. You also teamed together in doubles, which I had completely forgotten. You reached 3 Roland Garros finals. You won Wimbledon in 1988. And she also, it was so interesting, and I'd love to know the psychology behind this as well. The first 11 times you played, she got the win, and you had to find a way, and you eventually found a way to get a win against her. So Kim, I'm going to let you take it from there, but I wanted to just give a little bit of context because the on-court, we'll talk about the off-court as well, is just really special between you two.
Yeah, no, I just basically just want to pick your tennis brain a little bit too, right? It's like the tennis nerd in me is like, how did you, like when you had the losses, like, how did you think? Like back in the day, it wasn't as easy as, let me look at some highlights, or, it was different back in the day. And so how would you approach like moments like that?
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of analysis, you study the game a lot and find a way, but it's funny with Steffi, she, I think she always brought the best out of me. And she beat me most of the time, but I think you come to a point where, you find a way, you find a way to how to play. I felt I had the tools, but I didn't, executed them. So I found a way, and I always enjoy playing against, particularly against Steffi, because I don't know, she just brought the best out of me, and it was always, something special, and then, playing doubles was funny because actually her father came up to my coach at the moment and said, "Why don't they play together?" I think he wanted to get to know me better, perhaps.
Creep into your head a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Because it was funny. We didn't talk to each other so much, even on the court. We were in silent most of the time. The changeover will come, and then we will both be like not talking to each other. But I mean, we did quite well. But yeah, there is a lot of analysis, and how even Monica or Arantxa, Conchita, there is a lot of talking with your coach, off the court, and that makes a big difference, in finding the way.
It's you mentioned those women, like, and I go back to like my childhood, right? Like being in Belgium and just, you know, the rivalry, Steffi, Monica, you, Arantxa, Conchita, like that, those were like, and I always say, like, people are like, how, like, why did you look up to these women? Like, and I always, like, to not sound disrespectful, but to me, you were like my Disney figures. You know how like little girls look up to Elsa from Frozen, or, you know, Mickey Mouse, or like, that's what you, like, you guys, that's what you were to me. Like, it's
Wow.
like, I couldn't wait to, like, I wanted to be like you. I put the headbands like you. I wanted to slice, like, it's have the forehand inside out like Steffi. Like, there was a lot of things that you pick up as a little girl. And it was really special. Like, you know, I don't know if you know, like, my dad played soccer, and he, you know, played World Cups for Belgium. He's like, this is not just for today, but I have this here. Like, he's kind of watching. Oh, he passed away almost 17 years ago, but he's there. And but in '86, Belgium lost to Argentina in Mexico in the World Cup semifinal. And so there's a lot of, you know, like, I've always always that connection a little bit somehow, and it's fun to hear you guys. And I see so many pictures of, like,
special.
Maradona with, you know, how he was a big tennis fan, and Messi, and it's just fun to from a distance, you know, see that happen and have kind of my two worlds come together a little bit. So it's a lot of fun.
I think it's so interesting, Gabby, just sort of playing off that and your relationship with Steffi as well. You said you guys didn't talk very much, but I watched a snippet of your Hall of Fame induction where before there was Serena introducing Maria, there was Steffi introducing Gabby, which you guys were both very emotional, and you could see how close you are. Was it just sort of telepathy almost, where you guys just knew so well what it was like to be in the shoes of the other? Where did the friendship really grow?
It was, I mean, right after I think, I retired first, and then Steffi retired after. We played a couple of exhibitions. Actually, it was for her foundation, and already there, you know, Steffi, for me, I have a lot of admiration for her. Always. Obviously, we were rivals, but when you realize what she was, what she meant for tennis, what she did, and on and off the court also, for me, she's one of the greatest, without a doubt, if not the greatest. But right after we retire, we kind of got close to each other. We were talking quite often. We had the chance to see each other in these exhibitions, and then we met a couple other times. Now these days, we said that we were gonna do a trip together. So, you know, that's something we planned. Yeah, exactly. She's a very close friend of Inés Gorrochategui, who used to be another Argentinian player. They're very close. So, we are organizing.
Oh my God, that's great.
A girls' trip. But it's nice.
You talk a little bit about the retirement part. So it took you 5-6 years basically to come back on the road, and I can definitely agree. Like, it feels very weird, you know, going to a tennis tournament like as a fan of the sport. Like, you kind of you're lost a little bit. You're like trying to, you know, do I do a little bit of commentary? Do I do some sponsor things? But you're still kind of you lose your life a little bit, right? And it is hard.
I remember the first few times I would buy tickets. I didn't want to even ask for a pass.
What?
You know? I swear,
girl.
I didn't want anybody to see me.
You're like, funny. Don't ask me anything.
That's amazing.
No, I remember, I mean, you know, the social media, for example, we didn't have social media. I mean, and how much that changed also, you know, it's so different these days. I mean, I'm grateful that we didn't have social media, because,
me too.
you know, it's a lot. I mean, if you know how to handle it, great, but you have to put it aside and use it, you know, when it's the right moment. But it's hard. it's difficult. I mean, today I love social media because you can be in touch with other athletes. I don't know most of the athletes, and I can congratulate,
Right.
the athlete and get in touch and have a connection. And this is what I love about social media. Like today I follow the Argentinians a lot. And so I congratulate them, or I ask them, how do you feel, or best of luck. But yeah, that also has changed a lot in the tennis. Well, so many things have changed.
What about like coaching, Gabby? Like, have you had like a lot of players that have asked you to help them?
I mean,
or
I had a couple of opportunities, but no, I feel like I don't want to commit to something. Tennis, you have to be 100% committed. And the reason I stopped playing tennis is because I just didn't want to deal with. It's difficult to know why you burn out. I don't think it's the tennis, the playing itself. It's everything around it, and so it's. Yeah, it's difficult to commit these days. Like I didn't play tennis for like 10 years. I think I didn't touch a racket after I retired. And these days I feel like I don't want to commit. I mean, I tried to go and look or be close to an Argentinian player a couple of times, but I feel like I cannot be there, committed to someone. I love to give advice, and if I can talk to someone from time to time, I love to do that. But I cannot go farther than that. Yeah.
That was one of the things, Gabby, that I felt like or could relate to was, you retiring at 26. I retired the first time at 24 because of the reasons. Like I, was able to win my first slam after a few Grand Slam final losses, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, like I did that. And then everything else around it, I just started really like seeing like how toxic I think that whole environment was, and the tennis world. And, yeah, so I just wanted to step away from it. Like I just wasn't happy playing at all anymore. And so that was one of the things that I read and maybe didn't realize or didn't think about anymore, right, when you retired and at such a young age. And but I agree, like even with the social media, like I'm glad that I didn't have that, because that could have made me burn out even sooner. Like, like with all the
sure, exactly.
with the personalities, like it's just a lot harder for the girls these days too on that side. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, yeah. And it's a tough decision. I mean, I think I felt this burnout maybe a couple of years before I even retire, and I had to
pushing
work with
through like.
Yeah, and I had to work with the psychologist because I felt like I was into a hold and not interested in tennis anymore. And this already happened to me when I was like 17 years old. It happened to me for a very short period of time. And I thought at 26, or 24, I thought, well, this is maybe it's the same thing that is happening, and it will go away and I will be back again, happy to play. But no, well, that's why I started to work with the psychologist, and, he really pushed me to the limits, and I realized that, yeah, this is it. I'm sure that I don't want to continue to play. I'm just not happy, wake up in the morning and say, oh, I have to go and practice. Oof, I don't want to do that. I was already fighting with my coach for him at that moment. But yeah, I was a boring person. I had no interest. I was just not happy. And I thought, well, tennis gave me so much that it's not fair for me to continue like this, and that's where I think you have to prioritize yourself and your happiness, and this is what I did. And it was tough because also in Argentina there was a lot of expectation, and I knew that it was going to be a tough decision to give out. So that was probably the hardest moment for me to announce it, because I knew, what the reaction was going to be, and that was not expected. But I said, this is my happiness, and I have to follow that. And I'm sure of this decision.
Did you ever think about coming back? Like,
No,
even
never.
3-4 years that you like played with the idea? Because that's kind of what happened with me afterwards. Like, I had my
Sure.
daughter, and my dad
Sure.
passed away, and I was like, oh, like Wimbledon sent me an invitation to go play. It was against Steffi and Andre, and I got to, like, when they built the new roof on center court, and that kind of sparked a little trigger in me again. And I was like, wait, I was so confused, because I was so certain that I was done with playing. And then, I started having these feelings again, and of like enjoyment, and I didn't want to just practice, but I wanted to compete. And I felt like embarrassed that I was going to come back, because literally like 2 years earlier, that
But
was it.
Maybe having a kid, also kind of give you a different energy, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's you have those kind of feelings of like, oh, should I do this? Like, why am I putting myself in the spotlight again? Why do I, do I want to do all this again? And it's, it's,
Well, it's good that you follow what you felt, what you were feeling
it felt
inside.
true, right?
That's
like
the most important thing overall.
It felt like I was following my feeling and my intuition. It wasn't coming from somebody else, or it wasn't people telling me to do this. It was really something that I felt. But yeah, it's amazing. Like even now, like we were talking earlier,
you did amazing.
Yeah, but like if you see now in Miami, like you see players like Iga Swiatek, like talking about her mental health, and we've seen Osaka in the past, and like Alcaraz was complaining on the courts about wanting to be home, and it's just people underestimate, and I think you, especially in your situation too, when from 13 years old, 14 years old, there's this, you're always competing and doing, and I think it's normal, maybe even more so as women, that you want to grow and you want to do other things and explore the world. And I felt
exactly.
like, I've done this for so long already. Like, let's try something else. And
it feels like I felt like I was 45 years old.
Yeah, I feel now I live like a grandma. Like, no, not quite.
No, yeah. But that's how you feel inside, like I've been here forever, I'm old, I'm too old. And yeah, I was only 26.
There was a clip I saw from the Hall of Fame where you said, if I were going to give advice to a young player, it would be don't stop doing what you love. And you told us that you loved the motorcycle riding, so that was a release for you. But since tennis, you really have, it seems, outside looking in, you've done what you've loved, and you're an adventurer at heart. Has that been really key for you in sort of finding that post-tennis identity?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you never have to lose who you are, or you always have to give time to that part, because you're growing as a person also, and you don't have to abandon just the opposite, I think, because one day you're not going to play tennis anymore. And you always have to listen to yourself and follow what you like to do. And I think maybe in the last few years, I realized how important it was my off time. And I think in this way, my coach, Carlos Kiermaier, he helped me a lot in doing that. Like, I don't know, I will be playing a tournament, and it was a tournament in Hilton Head on the beach, and I always dream of riding a horse on the beach. and I remember Carlos saying to me, let's do it, let's do it. Why not? And we did it, and I was accomplishing all the things I wanted to do, but simple things, I don't know, just simple things, I remember I was traveling with my guitar. I was playing guitar at one point. I was traveling with my rackets and my guitar.
you and John McEnroe.
Well, John, I think until today he's
out there singing.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to be the coolest tennis player, like I know now.
No joke. Can you imagine rocking up with the motorcycle and the guitar?
crazy. I always loved to sing. That was until today, it's one of my favorite things to do. And I sang in different places. There was a presentation of my perfumes, and they did a big event at the Ajax stadium in Amsterdam. And there was this singer, this Dutch singer that I knew him, and he said, "Why don't we sing?" He was going to sing. He said, "Why don't we sing a song?" I'm like, "Are you sure? In the stadium?" So, well, we practiced a little bit, and I sang with him in the stadium. And then on a TV show with a friend of mine, she's a very popular singer in Argentina. She said, "Let's do a song together." Also I did that. And after I retired from tennis, I wanted to know what was happening with the singing. I wanted to see, because I never put the time. And so my friend, this singer, he recommended me this teacher who was very good. And I will go and learn, do the exercises for singing. And I will go like 3 times, or 3 times a week. And I loved it. But I realized that I didn't want to commit again to something, that will require, again, discipline and again, be committed to it. And I realized that I didn't want to go through that. But my teacher wanted me to sing. He said, "You have the ability to become a singer." I said, "No, I can't."
So now you just stick to what, showers and like car
Exactly.
rides?
Yeah. Well, sometimes if I'm with friends, they ask me to sing, but still I'm embarrassed to sing.
Oh my gosh, we need video from the girls' trip.
Listen,
of
the
you
next
singing
Legends
with Steffi.
Yes, or the next Legends event, like 1
There
second
you
back,
go.
like where you have to do like a karaoke or something.
We have to practice some way to prepare some songs.
So you're fearless.
I'm shy, but I have these desires. These are my hobbies. So I try to do that. Yeah.
All right. So karaoke song. What would you pick?
Oh. Let's see. Well, I sing a lot in Spanish. There is one guy that I love, is Luis Miguel, who is a very popular singer. But then, I don't know, I like pop. I used to like Air Supply. I don't know if you know who they were. Maybe you're too young. Chicago. Phil Collins. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you and Andy Roddick, Phil Collins fans.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, Phil Collins all the way. Yeah,
I would pick "Paradise by the Dashboard Light" by Meatloaf.
Oh, okay.
It's easy. It's like you can go all in.
Yeah.
Blair, there you go. What's yours?
I'm gonna stick to my Texas roots. I'm going "Friends in Low Places" by Garth Brooks.
Sure.
But we have all the genres covered here, guys. Should we ever decide to take it on the road?
We have it all.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing, though.
So, Gabby, you mentioned your perfume. I remember that very, very well, right? And it's not just the Yamaha sponsorship, but also the perfume deal. I think you were like one of the only players, or the first one, or to have that. And so what is, like, how did that come about? What was that like? Because you talk about like being shy, but then there's so many things, right, that put you out there and have something to connect with people. What was that like?
This was in 1986. This perfume company from Germany. There is a funny story behind, because this family was half German, half Colombian, and they wanted to name a perfume under Steffi's name, and the daughter and son said, no, you have to ask Gabby, because she's Latin and this and that, and so that's how it started. They will present me the idea. They will send me all the scents and the packaging and everything to the tournament. So I will have this box of different, smells, and I had to pick which one I like, better. And it was fun because I was getting to know a new world that I had no idea. And, when you are still 15, 16, you're not wearing much perfume, at least at that time. Today, maybe it has
the times
that
are
changed.
different.
Yeah. So I was really into it. And and it was nice to have that time off, with my perfumes. And it's fascinating how it works. And I got to get to know the factory, who produced the perfume. And so the first perfume came out in 1989, and until today, I still have my perfumes.
I tried to order it. It was not going to come in time
really?
for our interview. I wanted to have the Sabatini scent on for this interview. I will have to wait to the next time, but I was surprised you could still get it.
Yeah. It sells in a lot of countries, mostly in Europe, in Latin America, and actually now next month I have to go to Brazil to do a presentation, and so today they're using more the young girls, not me so much anymore.
You still are related to the company? It's still your.
I mean,
or they pay for your name, or how?
The perfume belongs to the company,
right?
And I give my name to the perfume,
Okay.
and I get to. I'm involved in choosing the scent and the packaging and all of that, and I have to approve, everything that is done. Yeah.
So has the scent changed over time, or has it always been?
Well, until today, there were about 15 different perfumes. Like every 2 years, there will be a new perfume coming out.
With your name on it?
With my name. They will have different names by my name. So, so now we're working on the next perfume for next year. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you're known for the perfume, but you are also known for the one-handed, so many things, but the one-handed backhand, I think people always go back to that. It was and is iconic. And I'm curious, if you were playing tennis today, if you learned how to play tennis today, do you think you'd still have the one-hander? And do you think there's room for the one-hander in women's tennis at the top today?
Absolutely. I believe so. I mean, and I think it will be very efficient also, because you can also do so many things, I don't know. I think a game today a variety of game today would do a lot of damage, I think, because obviously the tennis has, evolved, improved. There is so much speed and power. And so that's why I think that today, if you have a variety, you change the speed, you play higher, you play lower. I think you will do a lot of damage these days. Yes.
Sure. I mean, I only have, the two one-handers that stood out in my career was Justine Henin, obviously, and who was, so good,
amazing.
Right? With the,
so nice. Yes.
With the variety and a lot of times exactly what you're saying, like it's that variety that can throw so many players off. And Amélie Mauresmo as well, they had that game that could, just change up the rhythm
today,
and the variety.
You don't see too many. It's true. There is a young girl that she won Roland Garros last year. Actually, she's being coached by Francesca Schiavone. Lily Tiger.
Yeah,
she's from Austria. Wow. I think she has an amazing game.
Right.
Yeah, with one-handed backhand. Beautiful.
And great to see Francesca helping her and doing well.
I know, she's the best.
Yeah,
she's the best.
She
has a different mind. When you talk to her, I mean, it's amazing.
The fashion, the Sergio Tacchini fashion. I mean, I feel like even today, it's come back where you see, tennis influencers are a big thing now, where people come to the tournaments dressed in tennis-inspired clothing, and much of it looks like what you were wearing on the court in the prime of your career. At the time with the headband, I mean, did you know that you were creating a look that people still to this day think is iconic?
No, not at all. I mean, I love what is happening today. Yeah, how important fashion is. It's part of everything. And I guess before you didn't pay so much attention to. Although I wanted to be, looking good, I wanted to have my headband and everything matching and all of that. And of course, I looked into that, but I didn't realize, how big that was. Or people would say, oh, I got my haircut the same as you, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know if that was that good. I was spent like 1 hour to do my front, to make this
to get the puffy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. But that's how I was. I just didn't realize, the
impact
the impact.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What about playing with the hair down? You did that.
I did that in the beginning.
In the beginning, I remember
No, it was funny. I went through a lot of things. First, I had 2 ponytails when I was very, very, young in the beginning. This was in the beginning. And I didn't know how to make the ponytails. So when I had my mom, it was great. But then I would be traveling and I would be like, and now what?
Hey, coach, do my hair.
I will go to sleep with my ponytails. Done.
No way.
Yes.
So your head must have hurt.
Well, I just wanted to have my 2 ponytails.
So if you made the finals, they were all over the place?
Exactly. Horrible.
Amazing.
Oh, well. The things we go through, right? From a kid and playing on tour. I think now, my daughter just turned 18. And I think back on I talked to with my mom, and when I was 13, she would send me off to the Ukraine, without a parent, things are so different now, right? We just learned to just, figure it out. Here is a little bit of cash and you'll figure it out. There was no credit cards, no phones. We were this is when you leave, and this is when we'll pick you up at the airport.
It's true. We are lucky that we're here today.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
When I saw you on site in Miami, I imagine that players see you and want to come up and say hello and have interactions. And when you were saying, I can't believe somebody would want to cut their hair like me, I imagine there are many young players still who are so excited to meet you. What are those interactions like? And does it surprise you still when people come up and say, oh my goodness, you were the first poster I had in my room?
Yeah, absolutely. It surprises me a lot, and I get very emotional about this. This is one of the things that I appreciate today, and I enjoy very much, especially in Argentina. When people come up to me and say, thank you for everything you have done. I stay up all night to watch your game, and or someone said that, I had your poster. It's just amazing. It goes beyond your capacity of understanding, something like this, but I get very emotional with these things because it's wow, how much I was involved in their lives, it's a lot.
Yeah. I can literally cry because this is it's very special to me to be talking to you. So I just want to say that because of my dad too, just growing up watching you and it's the human side that, you do see some players lose a little bit, right? And
Sure.
It's really nice to hear that you never lost that. So
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Blair.
Oh my gosh.
So special to talk to you guys right now.
Tissues.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hopefully, well, next time we'll do it in person.
Yes, please.
All in person.
I would love that.
With the karaoke mic.
Yeah.
All right.
And some earplugs if I'm singing.
Oh, that's good.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day, Gabby.
Such a pleasure.
Thank
You
Thank
too.
you.
All the best, your families.
Thank you.
Whew, Kim.
Yeah.
That was so amazing and so special.
Very, very special. I feel like one of the things that I don't have on my desk is a box of tissues because I need them. It just, you can just feel like her energy is just so good. Like she's just a very good person and caring. And love that we were able to do this on Love All. And I hope I've been a little bit kind of like hesitant to go up to her because I, just look up to her. And then, so now I think it's just, this was an icebreaker, I feel like, and I get to go and, just be around her in person for a little bit.
Yeah. If I don't get an invite to the karaoke bar, I'm going to be very disappointed, Kim.
Definitely.
All right. Well, another fantastic episode. Great to hang out with you, Kim. As I said, thank you for letting me be a part of that interview because that was incredibly special for me as well. But if
we're in this together.
That's right. 10-year anniversary, 10 episode anniversary. But we also wanted to say on a sad note, we wanted to send our condolences to Lindsay Davenport, whose mother Anne passed away last week. She was a giant in the volleyball community and was such an incredible supporter to Lindsay and their entire family. So sending our love to Lindsay and her kids and beyond. And with that, we would love to invite you to like and subscribe to Love All podcast on YouTube. New episodes every Wednesday. And of course, on our social media, ask questions, interact with us. We always love it. And we will see you next week.